As recording secretary of the Beer Brothers local of the Royal Order of the Burn Pot, I hereby call this meeting to order with a roll call. Beer Brother Mark.
Here.
Beer Brother Brett.
I'm here.
And Beer Brother Dan is here. So I officially say we have a quorum and we're ready to start the ceremony or our meeting. So Beer Brother Mark, I turn the floor to you.
All right. Well, and as normal, let's start this off with explaining why we're doing this here, folks, because we started off normally, Dan and Brett and I would sit out by my backyard burn pot. And when it gets real hot, we don't do it so often. But right now, when it's kind of cool still in the evenings, we sit back there and sample and review beers. Well, we're trying to keep the social distancing right now, and we're not doing that right now. So we thought, what's the next best thing? Here we are, socially distanced. We're very distant. We're in our own smelly offices, and we've got beer to review. But we thought that the ceremonial beginning of each meeting should be the lighting of a candle to think of the burn pot that we can't be by. Are you all ready to light your candles?
We are ready.
All right. I hereby say, beginning of the meeting, let's light the candles and see if I can burn the shit out of my hand. Ouch. There we go. Candle number 1, 2. We're all lit.
3.
All right.
Okay. Well, Beer Brother Mark, I believe we should allow you to start the meeting with the first pouring. What are you reviewing?
Yes. Well, the beer that I'm drinking right now is it's in a Founder's glass, but it is not a Founder's. It is actually a Riverwatch brew, and it is called their Snickerdoodle Cookie Beer. This is a very different beer. This is local to Augusta, Georgia, and Riverwatch is one of our local breweries, and it's actually extremely sweet. So if you like a sweet beer, a malty but sweet beer, this is the beer for you. I made some notes, but this container, of course, is a crawler, and the beer, when you look at it, it looks like it's an amber ale to me. Honestly, it's got a real rich, beautiful color. The odor is very sweet, as I said. It's sharp, and upon the first drink, and I'm going to go ahead and take another sip here. I've had a few sips already, so hang on. I feel like the kid that has eaten all his Halloween candy at one time and filled it all into his mouth. There's a number of flavors going on here. It's kind of like you got candy corn, Snickers, Three Musketeers. I mean, there's all kinds of sweet flavors going on in here. For some people, this might be too sweet. For me, I love it. It's good. The pros are, it is really a delicious beer. The cons are, it's a little sharp for me, just a hair sharp. But I think overall, if I were to rate this beer out of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I'd give this thing about a 7.5 to an 8. Would I buy it again? Hell yes.
And this is the first time you've ever had it, right?
Yes, sir. It is.
Oh.
I really like it. It's not bad.
So, Beer Brother Brett, would you buy this beer based on what Beer Brother Mark has said?
I would definitely give it a try. I'm a fan of candy corn and Snickerdoodle cookies, and if that's kind of what it is, I'd be okay with that. Traditionally, I go for a sour, sour beers or that sort of thing. But I'm game for to try about anything when it comes to beer.
You know what? I think based on what Beer Brother Mark has said, I would love to try that beer myself.
Too bad you can't.
Okay.
But sometime we'll get together again, and you'll have to try.
Well, you know what? Although I'm restricted to the house because my wife is so paranoid, I might have to sneak out and go down to the brewery and get me a damn growler.
The nice thing about this, I want to make one quick more note on this here. I'm taking up all my time here and taking up our time here. Is that the nice thing about it, a lot of breweries are doing this right now, is they have pickup. Basically, you come there and you come there and you honk the horn. They come out and they say, "What do you have?" You tell them what you have. They bring out a nice bag with the beer in it, and you take it out of there, and it's perfect. You don't have to even go in the brewery.
Yeah. I saw the other brewery in town was doing 25% off all cases, and you can mix a case.
Ooh,
so,
really?
You get a free sixer for every 3 you buy. It kind of boils it down to.
That's pretty cool. Well, they're all trying something.
It's last, so
Well, we do have to keep in our prayers some of the brewers because I know one of the meaderies out of Atlanta, the Atlanta area, put out an email saying that they're afraid that um, this is going to put them under. And so I really, really think hard, and hoping that the breweries, especially the ones that have the brew pubs now, and that are really having to live by people coming in and buying, off the tap. I really hope that they're going to be here when this is all over. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Beer Brother Mark. No, Mark, you have completed your review.
I complete. I feel
Okay.
complete.
So, Beer Brother Brett, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll be glad to go. I first want to point out that the candle I'm burning is called firewood, so I have the smell of the campfire right now.
Cool.
In honor of that, I also plan to wear my Alaskan amber baseball cap while I do my review, which is brought from Alaska.
Now, is the smoke doing as usual and following you around wherever you go?
Luckily, it's a bit of a smokeless candle, but my fan in my room is causing it to flicker. So I believe I have a bit of a flickering fire on my face as I do my review. So
cool.
Other than the mosquitoes not biting me, I really think this is just like being in Mark's backyard.
And also the damn dog not barking in the background. And the
Hey.
neighbor's dog.
It's a great backyard. And stepping on the
it's a great backyard, except for the damn dog.
Well, that is true. That is very true. I hate it.
Stepping out of my wheelhouse for a review. This is something I normally would not buy, and I did not buy this. It was gifted to me, and it's been sitting in the refrigerator. And it's a Terrapin, which is from Athens, kind of a local brewery as well. And it's the Gamma Ray, which is a wheat wine ale brewed with honey. So,
okay, where did you get this beer?
Well, I believe it was a regift of a regift. So I believe it came from you to Mark and then Mark to me.
Okay. It looks familiar.
It does. And there were several of them.
Well, but the thing is, the history is, it was a gift to me, too, when somebody moved and they had their beer fridge and it had too much, they couldn't take it with them to Colorado, so it all got passed to me.
The date on the bottom is a bit obscured, so I really don't know how old this is. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Yeah, I wonder about that age too. We've had it might be pretty old. We'll have to see. Hey, looks like it's got a good head still.
Looks nice and clear. Not much cloud to it. I pour this over my Mac laptop, which is probably not the smartest thing in the world.
That looks good. That looks really nice color.
Well, you can smell the honey in this thing. The description on it is Gamma Ray is a wheat beer brewed with a massive amount of honey from the Savannah Bee Company. This super-powered blast from the past will make you believe time travel is possible. But you can really smell the honey inside of it. It's really great. The head stays a long time. Let's give it a try. First off, it's a 10.8% by volume beer. You definitely can taste the alcohol in it. It is.
I'm glad you're going second, then.
It's
yeah.
It definitely has some kick to it. You can taste the honey. It's not hoppy. I think this is the first Terrapin beer I've had that is not terribly hoppy. I'm not a big hoppy fan, and there's a little bit, but you really taste the honey is really overpowering. It's more like almost a mead, when you're drinking it.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Is it tastes more like you're drinking a mead, because with a higher gravity, that's what it makes me think of.
It is. It's really smooth, but it has that little sharpness of the alcohol flavor to it, and the honey taste just stays around. It's kind of you ever go to like a festival and they sell those little 10-cent straws with the different flavors in it? That's kind of what it is. It's a bit of think of an alcohol, a beer flavored honey straw.
Yeah.
And it's sweet. That's actually really, really good.
Well, but I think that's also, considering I got that beer back in August and you're now getting it, and it's probably, at least 6-8 months old, which I think is a good sign of a good beer, is when it sits around, even as long as you keep it refrigerated. I think that's the sign of a sign of a good beer. Somebody takes the right care to brew it right.
Terrapin is well known for their colorful cans, and it just is a cool looking beer. But with their normal turtle, or on the label, I was really expecting something to be very hoppy and a little bit of honey, and definitely the honey, the sweetness and alcohol to it is definitely the predominant flavor to it. It's actually a really good beer.
If you were to rate this, Brett, from between 1 and 10, where would you put it?
Well, it's kind of in a class of its own from what I normally drink. So I would go with a 7-8 probably, just for being something a little different, something a different flavor. Yeah, I'd give it a 7.5.
Would you take it for free again?
I would definitely take it for free.
Hey, I want my beer back.
The only thing I've ever really turned down for free would be a Magic Hat from Dan. So that's the only real beer that I would ever.
Now wait a minute. Usually
I agree.
It's Mark that
I agree.
would turn it down, not you.
Freaking Magic Hat.
I mean, there was that Russian beer we drank once too. That was kind of.
Oh, that was really out there.
Oh, the one with the lobster beer, or something. There's some weird ones. Yeah. That was years ago. Oh my God, that's been 8 or 9 years.
That was in your old house in the backyard. That was.
Yeah.
Remember some ones we had with like big chunks of sediment floating in them, and we were like really.
Well, that was Lagunitas.
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's just a lot of beers. We don't filter our beers, and when it settles out, it's been sitting around for a while. There's going to be stuff in the bottom.
It was a lot of stuff.
In other words, it was our fault that we thought it was weird.
We were ignorant beer drinkers.
Yeah.
I definitely do this again, and this one actually is right in Mark's wheelhouse for the high gravity, barley wine type beers. Mark, you probably shouldn't have given me this one. You should have kept it.
I didn't realize what I gave you. Damn it.
Yeah.
I would have. I saw the bright label. And I thought, well, this is a hoppy one, probably.
Wheat wine ale brewed with honey.
I would buy that one in New York.
Well, you know what that means? That we've had 2 sweet beers so far.
Yeah, but this one has a lot of alcohol. The alcohol flavor really tones. It's the alcohol is right up there. I mean, I'm kind of warming up already. It's a good.
Ooh. Oh.
drink.
Okay. Well, I guess do you think you've completed your review now?
I think I have. I'm almost completed the beer, so I guess the review's done when the beer's done, right?
Okay. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my hat. I had it on earlier. This is a fedora that a newsman, unknown, wore at the Roanoke Times back many, many years ago. And then when they remodeled the newsroom and they tore out the old bathrooms and they had lockers, and this would have been in 1984, 1985, there were some lockers that probably hadn't been open in 20 or 30 years. And I found this fedora, so this was worn by an actual newsman. And so I keep it in my office and stuff. So I'm wearing my newsman hat. And a lot of times what I would do is I would put my Virginia Press Association badge here, sort of, like I was out covering something. Okay, so I need to get mine out. Now, I'm keeping with the COVID-19 bull stuff. Well, it's not bull stuff, but I'm not allowed to go out in public. I'm not allowed to go to Publix. I'm not allowed to go to Lowe's anywhere. I'm not allowed to go to Costco. My wife says that I'm too high risk. So she had to pick my beer out for me. So this is Spousal beer. And she picked, although I think she did pretty good, she got Rogue Hazelnut Brown Nectar. So I bet you we're going to have 3 sweet. We just this is amazing that all 3 of us wound up going more on the sweet side. You two had you were gifted. He went out looking. And then me, I guess I was gifted in some ways. So this is, of course, an ale with natural hazelnut flavor. So, Rogue can be pretty heavy on the hoppy and bitter side, especially on the, they can come up with some real hoppy beers that aren't necessarily bitter, but they can be real bold. So.
Looks dark.
Really
dark. Yeah, it's darker than yours for sure. I mean, it's like a brown ale, but
it's rich.
I was trying to see if there's anything I can put behind it to, maybe I'll use the old iPhone. Let's see. Does that?
Yeah.
Pretty.
So
little hint of red in there too, a little amber to it.
Yeah. Now I'm like you're doing a duck rabbit glass. You were using
Founders.
Founders, and I'm using a Southbound from Savannah.
Oh, cool.
The hazelnut wax you on when you smell it. It is definitely in the hazelnut. It's they describe it a dark brown in color with a hazelnut aroma and a rich nutty flavor and a smooth malty finish. And to me, it has when you get sometimes spices or you get maybe like a little bit of a pecan, not the pecan itself, but that stuff that's in the pecan, and you put it in your mouth. It kind of dries. No, it's not. It kind of dries your mouth out.
Yeah,
like a little bit like alum or whatever. So it to me, it doesn't have the malty finish. Well, I guess it has the malty flavor, but it doesn't have that. It's not smooth. I mean, it really comes to a dry.
It's got a sharp tail on it.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? Much hops to it? The road being
no.
Is it
no? Well,
malty.
There's got a little bit of an edge to it that's dry, and I wouldn't call it as being hoppy, but it's a lot of times those malt. I guess this is more of a dry mouthfeel. It's very dry. It doesn't really get into that rich, smooth, milky kind of mouthfeel. It's very dry. The flavors are good. The flavors are toasty. The flavors are very nutty. The hazelnut is more in the aroma than it is in the taste, but I think that it just comes up with a nutty flavor. As you can see, the head disappeared pretty quick. Usually one that's really, really super smooth, the head will stick and the foam will stick around for a long time and be kind of creamy. And so this is, I'd have to say that it is what it says with a smooth malty finish. I wouldn't say it's just that super smooth, but I love all the flavors. I mean, the hazelnut, the aroma is nice. It does kind of make you think that, you're about to have a cookie or something. The nutty, I mean, it is nutty as can be. But that dryness really kind of, tones it down to where it doesn't feel like you're drinking a glass of milk or something, or, one of those real malty, super, super smooth. So I wouldn't call it super smooth, but I like in the flavors. It's consistent all the way through. You know how a lot of beers change from first sip, and when it sits in your mouth and it just kind of goes, and then the aftertaste just is totally different.
Yeah. This
is fairly consistent. It tones down a little bit toward the end, but it's a consistent flavor from start to finish. I mean, I like this beer. I would have to, with the dryness, and I'd have to sort of mull on this as to where this falls in my wheelhouse. I mean, I would not. I mean, I bought a 6-pack. I'm not gonna, want to not drink the others. But I would put this probably in where y'all are putting about 7 or 8. It's doesn't suck for sure, but it doesn't exactly make me want to run outside and jump in the pool.
Would you get it again if you had the opportunity?
If everything was closed down and it was the only beer that I could buy, and it's the only thing my wife could find, sure. but that's different about the fact.
Woo!
Oh, no. The thing is I don't drink as much beer as I used to, and so I seldom drink the same thing twice.
Right.
But I would have no qualms sitting down, and if I saw this on the menu at a restaurant, if there was any open, to where if they said, "Oh, they got the hazelnut on tap," I'd do it, like, for sure. Because most of the damn restaurants now is if it's not an IPA, they're not going to serve it.
That's true.
Grief.
That's true.
So I don't know. I'm not. I'll drink an IPA. There's a lot of IPAs out there I like, but it ain't gonna be the first thing I order.
You and me both.
So it says Dare risk dream. So, this is like I said, 7 or 8. I mean, that's not a bad number. When was the last time you drank a 9 or a 10? Other than something from Avery that cost $15 a bottle.
Yeah, those are the ones. Those are 10s. Those are definitely 10.
I really like the drafty kilt. That's kind of I put everything towards
Monday
that.
night.
That's my go-to 9 or 10. That's I really like that. And so I kind of compare everything to that when I have.
So you like that? It's a Scotch ale. That's a good beer.
Yeah,
that's a real good beer.
Yeah, then you got sour, or like I had a currant sour last week, and it was completely different, but it was still a good beer.
Yeah,
just kind of depends. As mine warms up a little bit, the honey flavor is decreasing, and the alcohol taste is coming more up. So this is one that you definitely want to drink while it's cold, I think, because it's not that it's not bad, but on the scale, it's probably dropped a point or two just because I've lost that real strong honey flavor to it.
Probably sounds like probably a good one to have when you're at home and not driving, or your wife's coming to pick you up at the burn pot after we've been sitting out there for a while.
Hey, you know what? None of us have to worry about designated drivers tonight.
I just have to find my way around the corner to the bedroom.
Wouldn't be the first time I took a nap in my chair.
At least you haven't slept in the bathtub like I have.
Yeah.
Woke up in the bathtub.
I have to say, as this one warms up, it actually becomes a little smoother, and it also gets a little bit more toasty. A toasty on the aftertaste. It starts to get a little toastier. It lingers for a long time.
This is losing, just like yours, Brett. This is losing the sweetness as it warms up too. It's not as sweet as it was when it was cold. At least it doesn't taste like it to my palate.
Good. Well, I think that having times like this where you sample a beer kind of through its life cycle of a glass. I don't think everybody does that. Somebody cracks open a beer, they drink it, and they move to the next one. Well, that flavor changes as it warms up, or if your environment changes. And I think people should try to do that more. Try to enjoy it. Try to have a conversation with somebody while they're drinking a beer.
A sessionable beer.
Yeah, and it just changes. You get all new flavors and new feelings. And
well, the thing that I've always tried to stress with either wine, beer, or whatever is always the first sip is different from all the other sips, because your taste buds, you sometimes get whacked.
Yeah.
And, and that first taste just blows your mouth away, either good or bad. But your taste buds are already active now, so that all the other sips after that aren't the same.
I've got a question for each of you guys, and I'm going to start off answering it first here. As far as pairing goes, what would you say would be the pairing optimum for the beer that you're drinking? For me, for this beer, the Snickerdoodle cookie beer, I would say vanilla ice cream would be a good pairing for this. Possibly marshmallows cooked out open over the fire. It needs something. It wouldn't go well, I don't think, with meats or things of that nature. It's too sweet for that.
Mm-hmm.
So my own opinion, desserts, but more of a lighter dessert with not chocolate, but more of a more neutral dessert, if that makes any sense.
It's funny you said that, because I was just thinking I picked up a frozen Dutch apple pie today, and I baked it earlier, and it's sitting on the stove waiting for me to have a piece. And I was just thinking, like, man, I wish I could just get up and go get a piece of that pie to go with this beer. I think like a dessert. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's marketed as a dessert beer, but I think having a Dutch apple pie with the tart apple in it and the sugary syrup would go good with this. And I like my Dutch apple pie with like a slice of sharp cheddar cheese melted on top of it.
Yeah.
And I think just that combination, the sharp cheddar, the sweet, the juice of the pie and the Granny Smith inside of it, the tart Granny Smith, it'd be a great pairing for this beer.
You get me hungry.
Pie is in there. I wish I could just have a piece of pie come to me, but I know that's not going to happen.
What kind of service is in this place? Come on. Jeez.
Well, I'd have to say with mine, what would be one of those apple sausage brats.
Oh, yeah.
The little bit of hint of sweetness to it, grilled. Because we actually had brats tonight. We had beer brats for dinner tonight and some hot dogs and stuff. This probably would go pretty good with a hot dog. But beer brats, and I think some vanilla ice cream with some caramel on it, I think would go well with this one. But I think, or maybe a Reuben with not with necessarily rye bread, but maybe a wheat bread with a kind of a sweet sauce. You know, one of the more sweet dressings and stuff you do with what you can do with a Reuben.
Like a Russian.
This would go. Yeah, like a Russian dressing.
Yeah.
And I think a Reuben would go well with this one.
Well, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
I'm still trying my pie's not coming though, so.
Well, you know what? I think my candle is getting low. What about yours?
Yeah, I think mine is too. It's the smell of the fire is starting to get to me a little bit. The smoke's in my eyes.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of.
Well, gentlemen, I think it's time to have a motion for adjournment. But before we do, I think we need to get together at this time next week. I think we should each challenge ourselves, or maybe something that we brought up tonight when we said what would we go for? You know, what is our go-to beer? Maybe next week we should have our go-to beers.
Yeah,
I like that idea. Means I need to run out to the store again.
Well, I'm lucky that my go-to beer right now is also the one Mrs. Dan goes to too. So
Good.
it won't go to waste for sure. And that was the other criteria she had for picking out, because she said this looks like something I'll like. So it was a little bit of self-preservation in that selection.
Yeah,
definitely.
So do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.